Hey everyone, welcome back. So we should have completed all of our rocks or stones and our sand while we were away. I certainly did. But I think today we'll tackle some of the greenery we have, and then I don't know, we'll see where it takes us. Maybe we'll finish today, maybe we won't. Now we already have some greens that we've been using. Let's see, we have beach green, felt green, Ionian green, and apple green. They're all great greens. However, I want to mix it up just a teensy here. I feel we need a slightly different green. While I do believe in balance, you know, taking this color and applying it down here, which we will, I also want to introduce something else because otherwise it's just us using the same greens everywhere. So I want to add, let's see, possibly my light olive. I say possibly because, like I said, with these Inktense, using the colorless blender, we want to test them out. So this is light olive 1540, and I want to see if I like it that one, which is felt green, or if I prefer it with our apple. I'm using my Ohuhu colorless blender because my Artify is not being my friend lately. All right, so what I'm going to do to test these is like kind of split this olive in half and blend one way and blend the other way. And just see what I think. Okay, so that's olive and felt. Here is olive and apple. It's funny, I know they look a lot similar. Don't worry about the lines here. I'm not going to make such a harsh line when we're actually combining them. I just want to see how they look next to each other when they're activated. And they actually both look just fine. So, alrighty. I tend to lean towards olivey greens when it comes to doing leaves and stuff. I don't know why, it's just the way I roll, but let's go ahead and do olive and apple green. We're going to do that for these little leaves down here. And so what I'll do is I'll do one set with you guys, and the other two you do off camera. That's kind of my thing where I'm trying to, so that I can keep these short and sweet, and get more done in 30 minutes. If I colored every single thing in the 30 minutes, then we would probably have like a 10-part series. Or more. I don't know, the sand took me a little while. I might even go back later and add more of the same colors to my sand. I'm not sure yet. Sometimes you just gotta finish a page before you start fiddling with it. So I'm only going to add my apple on a couple of the leaves. Others I'm going to just leave as olive. And that's just to kind of make it, you know, add some contrast and interest, so it's not just the same colors bouncing around. All right, so let's go ahead and activate that. Just be really careful when you're dragging to not go out of the lines like I did right there. It's really hard sometimes though. Okay. See, and just that pop of apple just brings a little brightness, which is perfect. Okay, clean off your brush nib. I should say brush nib. Alright, so that was for the leaves. Just remember apple and light olive. If you don't have light olive, then just use apple and a variety of one of the greens we've used up here. It's totally fine. Now the grasses, which are these here, I actually want to do something a little different. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Ionian green, just kind of put that in the dark space back here. That's just like my filler, because I'm just going to assume there's a bunch of grass under there. Just put some there. Okay. Then we need to grab one of our yellows, which I think I want. Sicilian's a pretty good one to use. Okay. So then we're just going to take our remaining greens, which have been used up top. We're bringing them back down here, including down here. We're going to take Ionian green, just add a few flicks. You don't need to sharpen your Derwent unless it's annoying you. To me, I'm like, whatever. And I'm just going to randomly kind of flick some of these colors in here, almost like I would if I was doing normal colored pencil grass. Wow, that's a mouthful. And the reason I'm flicking it is because I'm going to equally flick my alcohol brush nib. I gotta quit saying just brush. Okay, and then Sicilian yellow, which we used in our sand. Just here and there. Kind of bring in some of that sand color in. Now, is this going to look muddy? It will if you move back and forth. As long as you, why did I keep doing that chisel end? As long as you just move straight up, you will not make mud. Just have a array of greens and a hint of yellow barely showing through. Just move in the same direction, kind of like with the wood. Don't move back and forth, especially with a colorless blender, because that's where you get yourself in trouble with these alcohol ones. Now, water-based ones are more forgiving. You could move back and forth, and it won't pick up the color, but remember, like I showed you, here's our exact same wood grain pattern that we did here, and see there's no wood grain to this, and the color has been lifted because I moved my marker back and forth, so it sucked up all the color. Colorless blenders are color suckers, if that's not a term. All right, so that's basically what I'll be doing for the grass. I'm gonna activate my Ionian green back here, just so I don't accidentally activate it later. And it's okay if you get it on the grass. And this one you can wiggle around if you need to smooth it out. Because this is just a single color, so it's not a big deal, even if it washed it out a teensy. Now you will notice if your colorless blender is starting to dry out, you're not going to get as much of a drag on these Inktense. So you will need to change or refill markers depending on the brand you're using. Just keep that in mind, because I have had a few of you say, well, it's not dragging very far, and most likely that is your marker is drying out. That's why I had to quit using my Artify, although I just think the Artify one isn't as juicy, because it's not dry. I just think it doesn't release the same amount of colorless ink, I guess. I don't know. It's a mystery. All right, so take our Sicilian yellow. I'm just gonna kind of sloppy add that in. Seriously, no thought about it, just throw it in there. Less thought, the better. I'm just gonna kind of flick that in there wherever. Now I'm gonna take my beach green, same thing. I'm just gonna add this kind of wherever I want. I'm not going for like ultra realism here because we are blending this out. Now, that said, I do have another color along on my channel where I did go for more realistic looking grass. So it can be done. I was using a water brush. Ionian green, just to add some darkness. Just kind of add it wherever. If you want to really like pay attention and add it only to the shadows, by all means go ahead. I personally am going to take a carefree approach to this page because the entire point of this page is to use Inktense without stressing over it. So And then felt green. Just kind of randomly throwing that wherever I want. And if we have a little white space, that's okay. It'll, one, get filled mostly but when you start to drag it, and two, a little white space just adds a highlight, so it's not a big deal. Excuse me. All right, colorless blender time. So again, remember to move upward. Up, up. Don't go back and forth. Now you can go back over the same area as long as you're moving up. It just ensures that you're dragging the colors in one direction only. Same thing over here. Drag it away. Hopefully your gray has been activated, because on some of those it would really suck to accidentally reactivate. I shouldn't say reactivate, it would just be activate because it wasn't activated the first time around. Oops, I missed some grass down here. I'm just going to quickly do that. The leaves are your homework, but the grass will just finish. Again, just randomizing those colors in here. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going for filling it in. There. Easy. But see how you see some of the yellow showing through? Let me lift it up actually, in case you don't see it. Yeah, see how there's a little bit of yellow? I know my lighting in here today is kind of awful. It's a little overcast. Not that it's gonna rain, it's still gonna be like 100 something, but all right, let's see, let's tackle this moped over here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get my charcoal gray, because I want to get these tires colored in. So I'm just kind of, oops, I kind of went over the, whatchamacallit, rim. Okay, so again, that was charcoal gray, and we're just gonna wiggle that around. Now here, I'm gonna bring it to the center, and up at the top, bring it to the center, just kind of creating my own natural highlight. Pretending I got a shiny tire, I don't know. All right, and then I think I want these handlebars to also be charcoal gray. I'm just going to put a teensy bit at the end, or, well, where they meet, and then I'm going to drag it to the end. The charcoal gray drags very well, so you don't need a ton. That's one color that has zero issues moving around. Okay. I am doing a little more detail work with this moped, but that's because we see a lot more of it. I hope that was on frame. I just realized I was kind of off frame. but yeah, let's grab this seat, which I'm gonna just say in my head is probably leather. So I'm gonna take neutral gray and charcoal gray, and so I'm gonna put some here that I plan to drag across. Yep, it's picking up the green of my desk because I'm naughty and I don't have paper under it. Although I could just use my scrap paper. Alright, so let's put that there. And then the top is where I'm going to switch over to my neutral gray. I'm just going to add a little bit down here. Okay. So let's start with a neutral gray because that's lighter. Just drag that over. Just make sure you're activating everything as you do this. Okay, so and then we'll start with this part of the seat, just grabbing it and moving it over. bottom. And clean off your little brush nib. Always keep going till it's clear. You want to turn it around and get all the sides, of course. Okay, so color-wise for this moped, we already have a red moped. Ooh, what if we did an orange moped? Why not? Okay, like I said, I'm trying to use the colors we already have out because they are going to add some balance to our page. So I'm going to use, sorry about that. I'm going to use hot red, tangerine, and golden yellow for our moped. Okay, so let's start actually with our orange, and then we'll come back with a hot red for shading after. So tangerine, leave this top alone, we're going to put blue there. Just gonna kind of create my own areas of highlight and shadow. I'm not a moped expert though, so hopefully I'm not covering the wrong thing. I could, I guess, look at a reference photo if I really wanted to be crazy about it, but I'm trying to keep this stress-free. I did see some of you commenting about doing more complicated blends. I will be doing that. This is a super beginner-friendly tutorial. I want everyone who has never used Inktense or has but hated the water brush to kind of try this method first, but I can definitely, and I plan to, do more complicated blends with a water brush and alcohol blending. So don't worry about that. I will, it's on my list. One thing at a time. But yeah, I had seen a few comments asking if I was going to or I plan to, so yes, I definitely plan to get into the more complicated stuff, but for those who need the basics first, I wanted to give them the opportunity to learn the basics so that they could do the more advanced stuff along with us later. And I'll continue to do some more basic ones as well, because this is just one picture. Okay, grab your golden yellow. While you will learn from it, you know, you gotta practice a lot with Inktense. It's not like you can watch one tutorial and be a master. And that's with any coloring medium, not just Inktense. But let's see, I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy this much yellow at the end here, so we may add more orange, but let's see where this takes us first. Yeah, I do want to kind of do beginner friendly and more advanced tutorials. That way it works for everyone, because not all of us are at the same wavelength when it comes to our coloring mediums. And if I only did advanced, then it wouldn't really be helpful to a lot of people who are new to Inktense. And it's interesting, I mean, Inktense have been around for a while, but only recently have I noticed more people asking about them. So maybe it's because the price went down. They are a lot cheaper nowadays. At least they're cheaper than when I bought them. But it's just like 90 bucks or something. It's like ridiculously cheap. And I'm pretty sure mine were 120. I don't know, something not under 100, that's for sure. So when I saw that price on Amazon, I was like, holy moly. And they've stayed at that. So don't go rushing to buy them. I know there's been a lot of posts like, oh, it's never gonna go this low again. It's not true. Like the last month, they've been dropping down there. And I have a feeling they're gonna continue to do so. Now, Inktense are not just, you know, for coloring. In general art, mixed media, these are killer. You can use them in place of just about anything. Actually, I do like that yellow. It's transitioning quite well. Might add a little more orange once it evaporates and we see how it really looks, because like I said, never judge it while it's wet. Okay, and we're just meeting those in the center. I am liking this though. Definitely looking good. Definitely don't go speeding down the road on this bad boy. The cops will see you a mile away. That much red, orange. It's kind of like the red sports car, you know? I never got why people would buy the red sports car. Because I'm like, you know, you're just a flashing beacon for anyone. You just see it a mile away, and it just looks like it's speeding, even if it's not. I know they've done like studies on the colors of cars that get the most tickets, and red was like always #1 for speeding. I don't know if it's still that today. This was a while ago. Back in the day. Alright, I'm actually digging the orange, so you know what? We're gonna leave out hot red. We don't need it. At first I was kind of worried we would need it for some contrast, but it's actually working just fine. So I'm gonna take my tangerine again and just kind of color in these bits. I have no clue what this is. Those of you who own or know mopeds probably know better than me what this is. It's just a backing to me, but it's probably got some sort of actual use in the moped world. But for me, I'm like, I don't know. But it's gonna be orange. I kind of like picture this thing up here to be like your speedometer or something. I don't know. Like I said, I've never even been on a moped. I should probably do that. We'll add that to my bucket list. Okay. Grab our blender. Oops, I keep opening the chisel side even though it's marked. Just making sure I'm activating all that. Same thing over here. Yeah, see, the Ohuhu is a lot juicier. The problem is the nibs on the Ohuhu are not so glorious, and they will tear up pretty quickly. So don't go thinking you should buy a ton of Ohuhus and you'll be fine. They will get torn up. This paper, though, is smooth, so they're not going to tear up as quickly, but they're not... oh, I can't even think of the word. Alright, so we got our orange moped, we've got our red moped. Oh, we need some blue for our little, I don't know, headlamp features. So I'm going to just use iris blue because we already have that out. I accidentally got some red right here. And like I said, once it's wet and activated, there's no turning back. So I'm just going to put teensy bit here. I'm going to drag it. You can erase them when they're dry. It's just once they're wet, yeah, there it is. You can use Posca or something, but going back on top of a Posca with an Inktense is not a pretty sight, just in case you're curious. All right, let's do the chrome. It's going to be chrome. I can't think of the name of what this is right now. Wow, this is just awful. My dad's watching this, he's probably gonna be like, what's wrong with you? Only watched him like build cars my entire life. Yeah, it's not coming to mind right now. Rims? Yeah, rims. Oh my gosh, that took a long time. It's almost like my live stream the other day. Words were not with me at all. And that was just the neutral gray, by the way. And I'm just kind of randomly placing it. Because obviously I'm not going for a super shiny effect. I just kind of want to color this in, give give it a little bit of highlight look, and that's it. I feel like there's still some lines up here, so I might need to keep activating this till it, yeah, see it's still moving. Like I said, if you see lines after it evaporates, then go back over it. Just do not go back and forth and suck up all that ink. Okay, so our ocean, we want to combine some colors. Let's see here. So the blues we already have out are iris blue, deep blue, iron blue. Now, anyone who lives near a beach or has seen the ocean knows that the ocean is not really blue. Well, unless you go to like Mexico or those nice islands where it's blue. But I'm from California. It's actually a, sorry about that. It's actually a gnarly greenish color. But for funsies, we're gonna pretend we're in Fiji or something and have a really blue, pretty thing going on. So let's start with our iron blue. And I'm just going to kind of make little zigzags. So kind of like we did with a wood grain, only now we're going to make water. Oh, I shouldn't put it that way. In some languages, make water means using the restroom. Deep blue. It's funny how language works, isn't it? Like words in American English don't necessarily translate same anywhere else. Okay, and then some iris blue. Now most of this iris blue you put down is going to get sucked up into the dark blue, but that's what we want because we don't want it to look like the tin roof. Get a teensy over here. Okay. So now we're going to take our blender, make sure I'm on screen. I'm just going to pull I may even break out another blue if I feel this is not enough. Okay, let's let that evaporate. So for our sky, I will need to introduce a totally different blue, most likely a teal. Now you could I have used teal in the water? Yes, but ooh, let's see how this dark aqua looks for the sky. In fact, that might be fun to add to the water. Ooh, nope, we're gonna put that in the sky. That is lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, so that one. And this one we could actually add to the water. That's pretty, pretty. These look nothing like my actual swatches, which is why I am testing them with you guys, because with a water brush these activate completely different. Okay, so I think for our sky we are going to use dark aquamarine, and we'll have our white nearby. I'm actually going to take some of the bright blue first and add that in little squigglies to some of our water. Okay, remember that was bright blue. Color we haven't used before, but I just want to add a little more to this. Okay. And where'd my scratch paper go? Turn that off. And the reason I'm going with like a tealish color is because I want to make sure we don't blend into everything, and I think this will offer enough of a difference. So for our sky, we're just going to put this down. Now this would be where a water brush would be really fun, because you could drag this, manipulate it, create a bunch of different textures. I'm not too worried about the seagulls. I'm gonna go back over them with like a white gel pen. But if you can dodge them, dodge them. But yeah, like with a water brush, you could really manipulate this and get a better looking sky than with the alcohol blending marker. So, you know, you can go ahead and activate this with a water brush if you want, but I'm going to do this entire page using the alcohol marker. Stick with our theme. Now I'm not making any shadows because this is the sky. My palm tree is not going to be creating a shadow in the clouds. Sorry for the background noise. Apparently people are not listening to the fact that I said I was recording. It's just ultra loud today. But I do want to finish this one today, if possible. That way we can move on to a different color along. Maybe I'll have you guys vote on the medium, not necessarily the book. And the only reason I say not the book is I have, when I pick my pages for the month, I guess, I kind of have to really pick what I'm in the mood to color. You can throw a medium at me and I'll be like, yeah, I'll color the page I picked in that medium. But if I'm like having to go do a certain book or page and I'm just not feeling it, it really shows when I'm trying to color it. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. Okay, so with this one, definitely want to activate everything, but also this one is okay. I know this entire series I have said stop moving back and forth, but this one is okay to do that because we want it to pick up some color and wash out some spots and create some texture so that it doesn't look like one big flat aqua color in the background. So this is one where you can totally throw out everything I've said for the last, I don't know, whatever, we probably at total 3 hours. And wiggle it, move it wherever. Definitely make sure you activate your lines. Sometimes they can be pesky on these bigger spaces. And we may have to go back in and add more layers. If you notice with your Inktense, you're getting a ton of lines. Sometimes you just need to add more ink. Like you don't have enough ink to cover up the ink. So like what you're activating is just not covering the space enough is all. Hopefully that made sense. Probably help if I stayed in frame, but why would we do that? See, I have some lines up there, but actually I kind of like the way it looks. Might actually keep those lines, I don't know. We'll see. Let's just get this all activated first. Like I said, it's really hard to judge a page, especially with Inktense, until it is fully activated and then dried. But luckily with the alcohol marker, it dries way faster because it just evaporates. And then you can go back and reassess. Now be careful in these areas in case you didn't activate something, because you do not want to drag something into your background. Okay. This could be my marker getting dry though too. So see, I still have some lines showing, which means I need to add more ink. But I'm also going to, well, for one, throw this behind here so it stops picking up the wood grain of my desk. I'm also going to add some white. So, should be pretty dry over here. Okay, so take your dark aqua again. Just add it in a few areas, not all over. Like I said, we don't want consistent, like one big flat color. So I'm just going to add it in some areas. Also going to take my antique white. I'm just going to add it in some other spaces. You won't see it very much when it's activated. It will mix in though a lot more than you think. It's just you're not going to see it. It's not as a wow factor. Okay. So let's take our brush and just go back over. Our alcohol brush nib. Again, I keep saying brush. It's just a habit. But this far in, you guys know what I mean. If you were for some reason tuning into part 5, definitely go back and watch the other parts first. Since this is a color along, you'll want to catch up. And just kind of going over everything again, make sure it's all activated. Don't worry, it's not going to, once the color has been activated and dried, it's not going to pick anything up. It's only going to grab what's not activated. Unlike watercolor where you could pick it back up. I mean, you can go in with a clean brush and literally pick it up off the page. If you're using watercolor paper. I should always put that disclaimer out there. It's not like you can use it on this paper and go and pick it up. It may not come back up. Paper does make a difference. Okay, clean that off. All right, so see how it kind of added some darker areas and some lighter areas. It's kind of what I wanted to go for there. You know, all we have left, let's just go ahead and finish these leaves together. So just get your olive, light olive. Just kind of put them on there. Now, whenever you're doing this, do not use heavy pressure because that will create lines that are really hard for you to pick back up when you're not using a water brush. I think I said that in part 1. I might not have though. I mean, you should always be using these really lightly. There's zero reason to press hard. If you want more pigment, just lay down more in that area. Just layer and layer on top of it. It'll give you more pigment. You don't have to like press down super hard. Okay. I put more apple green in some of these than I did the other, but whatever. I just want to finish this page with you guys since all we have left is the beach bar backing, which I think I'll just make black, and then some white gel pen accents. Can't forget that. All right, so just take our charcoal gray. This could get a little dicey, so be careful. Very gently, where you see the bar, just put a little bit of that charcoal gray in there. Let the dragging method do the rest. Like I said, that charcoal gray moves very easily on its own, and it stays on your brush nib for quite a bit. Okay. All right, so let me grab a white gel pen and we can, oh wait, I have one right here. Haha. I just need to make sure it's, so if your gel pens are never working, just use your hand. That's why sometimes when I'm recording, my hand has that on it, in case you're wondering. Okay, so with our white gel pen, all we're going to do is, I want to outline my little seagulls up here. Basically just gonna make them almost like big old white blobs. Now this is the Arteza 0.6. If you're going to buy the Artezas, I highly recommend just getting the variety pack. Gosh, I don't even know if you can buy individual sizes separately. Anyway, I think you have to get them in the variety pack, but don't quote me on that. But either way, I bought like the 3-pack when I first bought them, and I absolutely love them. Okay, so then what we would do here is like all the areas where we drew over with our black. We'll just create our chalkboard. Now, down here, I'm not gonna seriously scribble all that, but I do want to show you a technique. So you wiggle your gel pen and then use your finger and wipe it, so it looks like an erased part of a chalkboard. Same thing I can do down here. Wiggle and just gently rub your finger on it. You can circle it around if you want. You can also do this with a Prismacolor, but since we have the gel pen out, might as well use the gel pen. So it gives you like a more authentic chalkboard. And then all I'm gonna do is kind of squiggle writing here, because I can't even read what it said initially. Now I know this one said summer. So just try to outline it. And then it said specials here. You don't have to use the Arteza ones, Signo, Jelly Roll, all of those are okay. I'm just using the gel pen I happen to have. And then down here, I'm just gonna squiggle. And I'm gonna make this look a little more erased there. There we go. See? We filled that in so it's back to its glory. And see how this evaporated? So it's not as dark gray and scary as it was before. I might add like a little gel pen here, little here. Really, you could go gel pen crazy for days. Just depends on what you feel like doing. But I think I'm going to leave mine at that. Let me zoom out. Are we all in frame? There we go, with all my Derwent everywhere. So yeah, we have officially completed a page using our Derwent Inktense and a colorless blender, and I think it looks great. It's very fun. It was very easy to do. I hope it was easy for you guys and kind of taught you a few basics. Like I said, I will do much more advanced stuff. This is just to teach you a very basic blending technique using the Inktense and an alcohol marker. This can be achieved with a water brush. It will look different though if you follow this color along with a water brush or a Tombow colorless water-based blender. Yours will look different than what we have here, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with this color along. I've received some really good feedback and I definitely appreciate it. That helps me kind of know what to work on next. And definitely let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see more Inktense color alongs or just color alongs in general. That always helps me kind of plan things out. So I hope you had fun with this. If you did do the color along, please share it on Instagram and tag me. I'd love to see how yours turned out. I'm always curious. I'd like to see the finished product. So yeah, definitely share that on Instagram and tag me, or if you're in my Facebook group, just post it in there and I'll see it and check it out. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.